You're going to hear how productive this woman is. She's a powerhouse of productivity indeed. With a PhD, CFP, and PMT behind her name, she is also assistant professor and director of the financial planning program at Cal Lutheran University. She's also a succession program director at Value Growth Institute. She has authored 2 award-winning books titled Show Me the Money and Work Towards Rewards. Padraig MacMillan will release Dr. Chien's latest peer-reviewed research book, Practical Strategies to Enhance Retirement Success Rates in the United States, later this spring. Dr. Chien frequently speaks at local and national conferences and serves on the boards of various national financial service associations. Here to address the future of advising in light of automation, please join me in welcoming Dr. Chia-Li Chien.
Can everyone hear me? All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
If you were in my house today and we were having dinner and I ran out of the rice, that would be very embarrassing. And on top of it, you're asking me to, if you ran out of the rice, why don't you just cook rice? And I will tell you, ooh, I don't know how to cook rice on a cooktop. But I do know I can just do a press of a button to cook rice. And many of you probably noticed this, where we all are surrounded by machine, robots, like it or not, we are already there. And I love these machine and gadget in the kitchen so much, I convinced myself to buy this bread machine several years ago. And for those of you being married for a long time, I have to convince my husband the bread machine is the greatest investment I ever made. I ended up making so many bread. I even made Chinese dumplings, dough, and everything in there, spaghettis, you name it. And for those of you married very long, you know that my husband has to be very careful what he said to me. If he has an opinion about this little machine, especially I make so many extra bread and stuff like that, he's on a treading water here. You have to say to me, oh, honey, you know, based on the research in the past, should you consider eating a little less carb? And I have to justify, you know, this saved me time. This also potentially give me all the health benefits, right? Don't you agree? If you make your own bread, it's supposed to give you all the health benefits. So these machine robots are helping us in the household, even in your office. They save time, and we also try to justify their existence. As a matter of fact, your pet today have a job. Their job is to supervise your robot in your house. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take you through whether or not you like, whether or not the technology advancement in the industry or in general. I'm going to take you through some statistics about robo-advisors and fintech in the financial industry. Then I'm going to take you through looking at, so if the robo-advisor is on the rise, have we ever considered something else to service our clients? Then I'm going to take you through a big data. We're going to look at some big data looking at U.S. retirees statistics. From there, hopefully that you will be able to sense what should you do to change your business model and able to sustain in ever-changing world that we are in. Okay? Now, first off, since we're all surrounded by machine and I'm known for making my students work, so I'm going to ask you to take out your cell phone, please. All right, so the very first thing that I'd like you to do is please go into this particular website. I want you to get ready, and as I take you through the materials, there are going to be some statistics that I need you to participate. So I'm going to give you a moment to take down the website And if you miss it, don't worry, when we come back to it, you'll still be able to see some of these URL on the screen. Oh, you didn't know I'm going to make you work early in the morning. All right, I'm assuming that you have it. If you don't worry, it's coming back again. So one of the most frequent questions that I get was, so what is a robo-advisor? What is robo-advisor? I travel quite a bit for clients' work as well. One of my longest clients, their office is in New York. As a matter of fact, in Times Square. And so I go there probably 4 times a year just to get their strategy in place. And there's this little store, not very little, it's actually very big, in Times Square. How many of you been to Times Square? Oh, good. Have you gone into this store here? It's called a Line store. How many of you use the app called Line? Just few, okay, right. So for those of you who don't know Line is an application developed by a Korean company, but started out in Japan, and then later on, pretty much all of the East Asia, everyone uses that, including my parents. My parents are the one telling me, honey, you should be on the Line, so then we can call you. They don't use FaceTime from the iPhone, they use Line instead. And so in the store, this is the Times Square in their store. If you think about it, it's a technology company, the app company, but they have a store literally in Times Square. And these are emoji, by the way. These are the emoji that you actually use on your phone. And so you make you wonder that even if it's a app company, still have a physical store, so their business model really hasn't necessarily changed too far off from where we are. So I'm going to ask you to answer this question. What is robo-advisor? Is it a blockchain? Or is it a cryptocurrency? Or is it a Bitcoin? Or is it some sort of technology in fintech or financial technology? Or I simply don't know. Right, interesting. I see someone changing answers. All right, great. So good job, guys. So the robo-advisor is a type of financial technology, and by definition, the robo-advisors actually. Oops, let me see if I skip one screen. Yeah. So by definition. Okay, good. So by definition, robo-advisor is nothing more than a whole bunch of people doing programming behind the scene to figure out the algorithm for individuals, and then helping those individuals to make proper financial decision for a certain type of financial products. One of those financial products is called asset under management, and many of you probably are familiar in this room. And so asset under management is one type of financial products, oftentimes helps advisors to customize clients' goals and objectives and then put investment inside there. So let's take a look at what robo-advisor actually manage the asset management today. So let's see. All right. So robo-advisors, as of 2018, we have roughly about $75 billion in the asset management, asset under management product. That's a $75 billion. By 2020 it's estimated, which is by the end of this year, about $250 billion asset under management. I don't know about you, some of you might be thinking, well, are we out of job? If the robo-advisor is managing these assets, what do the rest of us do, right? And as a matter of fact, the question is not so much about what do we do, is who actually uses robo-advisor, right? So I'm going to ask you to enter your answer here. So who actually uses it? So we have some answer here already. Who uses robo-advisors? The one who do it yourself, okay? Anybody else that uses robo-advisors? Independent advisors, okay? Millennials, okay, interesting. No one uses the robo-advisors, millennials. Okay, great, thank you, thank you. It seems like we all believe that the younger folks use robo-advisors. So let's take a look at from the study shows that robo-advisors oftentimes are used by young people, so many of you have got that right, millennials in general, and they are confident. They are confident in the way of that they believe in their own financial ability, they can do this work, but they do not trust the traditional financial services, if you will. So millennials, young people tend to use this. Now, the question would be, if that's the case, the younger generation is using this, who else is using this? As a matter of fact, about 23% or so, 23% of a financial advisor actually use robo-advisors in their practice. And about 49% or so advisors believe that the robo-advisors will reshape the entire wealth management industry. So it's the questions of whether or not how much impact, did I change the screen? Okay. How much impact that we will have in the industry versus robo-advisor is here to stay or not. I believe the robo-advisor will be here to stay. The question would be, how much should you change your business model to adapt to that?